not gonna sleep tonight.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up? Huh?
Multi-picture. Oh, yes.
All right.
I do have something. I do have a little thing bleeding into my picture. I don't know if it's.
I don't. Oh, why? I can fix that. Hmm. I don't want video, so don't tell me to.
Are you
Frickin'
using something new?
Skype. No, it's just Skype wanting to put my video camera thing down in the corner where your thing is,
Oh.
and even when I tell it like turn it off, then there we go. Yeah. All right.
Hey.
It kept popping
Yeah.
up.
Weird.
Yeah, he's got with his new job so much stuff going on right now that he has to prepare for right after BlizzCon. That we don't want him to stress out too much here. So
We need him intact.
all right,
I'm gonna check real fast to see if the new bundles actually got added to the shop.
I was just on there. I didn't see him.
Because technically they were supposed to be coming out this week. But I didn't want to say it wrong, so I'm double checking real fast. Oh, yep, there it is.
Oh, nice.
Cyberpunk Tail Pass bundle. It's a sweet looking skin.
More money for me to spend right before BlizzCon.
Yeah, I did just buy the pack, so
I got I was smart. Pre-ordered my BlizzCon gear this year. So, all right, we'll be back here in just a second, people. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. That's kind of frightening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 88 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true heroes of the storm. I'm your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmozord, but you can call me Gizmo. And on this week's episode, we touch base on the latest for the Heroes Global Championship at BlizzCon, recap the esports Reddit Q&A, and take some listener questions here. Of course, joining me this evening is another Zord Lord, as always, Mr. Ryan Reeder, aka TBK Zor. TBK, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. The hype has set in. I'm starting to get into full panic mode
Yeah.
because I have so much crap to get done, and I've still got another day of work before I leave. So busy.
Yeah, it was nice. I'm leaving early in the AM tomorrow, and I was able to take today off of work because I have to use my PTO by the end of the year anyways. So that was nice, but holy cow, I'm ready. My body is ready, but I'm not, my packing everything is not quite ready yet.
Yeah.
So Multi, Mr. Kevin Ellis, is not able to join us tonight. He is getting ready for BlizzCon as well, and of course with his new job, I know he's talked about having so much that he has to do the week right after BlizzCon, and we don't want him to stress out and stuff. So he's getting stuff ready for that tonight, so that he can enjoy BlizzCon and not be stressed out. So he has the night off, and we got little teardrop Multi there tonight. It looks so awful. Oh well though. But let's get right on into this thing. What have you been up to in gaming this week, TBK, or have you just been kind of getting ready for BlizzCon? Yeah, Skype was freaking out there.
Yeah, Skype was totally freaking out, and I totally heard the last few words that you said. Yes, I'm getting ready for BlizzCon. Was that the question?
It was. What have you been up to?
If so, yeah, it was. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, if you could tell in not you telling my voice, but listeners telling my voice, I seemed a little distracted. It's because the face you were giving me as I was asking you a question was really blank. Turns out it's just because Skype froze your face.
Yes, Skype was very unhappy there for a second. It's back. We're good. We're good.
So what have you been up to in gaming, or have you had time to game this week? You've just been prepping.
I have had time to get some heroes in. I got my 3 brawls in, which we'll talk about here shortly. And then I've just been trying to play a few more games here and there. Played a little WoW, got caught up because I had gotten behind on lots of stuff. And so that's marginally caught up. I don't think I'll ever be caught up again. And I'm really okay with it. Like, it's been pushed down on my gaming priorities a decent bit. I played quite a bit of Heroes today, and it's an unfortunate loss streak right now. Like, it was one of those where it's just like 4 or 5 in a row, and I had to I'm just gonna do an AI game.
Mm-hmm.
Just, get it done. But I did my AI game. I had fun, knocked out all my quests. I'm 1 game away from getting Kerrigan to 10, so that's exciting. The problem is I can't care about the Master Skin.
With the Ghost Skin?
Because, yeah, I have the Queen of Ghost Skin now, and I'm never going to use another Kerrigan skin again. So that kind of sullies the level 10 a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I have a really sweet skin, and then it doesn't. Well,
that's kind of an interesting point here, like, because the Master Skins, while they are cool and show that you've gotten level 10, there are so many options now. It's like, you don't want to just use that. I've gotten to the point to where the only time I really use Master Skins now, unless it's the skin I like the most, which in most cases it's not, is in Hero League. And the reason for that is I want, whenever I am hovering over hero, picking a hero, just going into it to kind of not... People at least know I play that hero. So just kind of hey, I play a lot of Kerrigan, like a lot of Kerrigan, and I'll be decent with her. So just trust me. But yeah, in quick match and stuff, I've gotten over the annoying ping of her metallic wings. So I'm really digging the skin here. But yeah, so my raid team Convert to Mythic is now 3 of 7 Mythic, and Dragons down to, like, I think they got it down to 3%.
Wow, not too bad.
Yeah, so we changed up our strat on Ursoc this last week. They got it down last week, and then we got it down again this week. Changed up the strat on that, made it a ton easier, but it still is a big DPS check. But fun fight so far. So we're I think we're in good pace to clear 7 of 7 right as the actual tiers begin, which will be really nice there. But the past
the night hold.
yes,
Yeah.
which would be perfect because I kind of consider us. We've talked about this on Convert Trade with our level of players. We're kind of I think we're a good cornerstone for like the average mythic raider. So kind of pacing
The average
because
mythic raider.
and I don't want to get into it too much because it's WoW stuff.
Wink, wink.
But with like the WoW races ending in less than 24 hours, people are like, oh, Mythic's too easy. But a lot of Mythic team, it's going to be a good pacing for a team like us to be able to actually complete all that content right around whenever the next raid's coming out without a big gap there or without just never being able to complete it. So that'll be nice. Past few days though, got back into some Hero League, and I think I'm starting to nail my heroes down. Still Kerrigan, of course. ETC, I've been having a lot of luck and fun with him lately. And my one win in Hero League so far, I'm 1-6, was from Li Ming, and I decimated as Li Ming. I went the teleport build, which I hadn't done in a long time, and I had like 21 kills along with some takedowns and I think 2 deaths. So I tore it up.
That's the thing with Li Ming. Like, when you Li Ming hard,
Yeah.
or you're kind of worthless.
Yeah, and I hadn't gone the teleport build in a long time, and I was kind of forced into it because of a Zeratul, and I think it's going to be something I'm probably going to be playing a lot more of the teleport build. So, but let's go ahead hop into the show here. TBK, what do we got going on for store sales this week?
So this week, for your Lost Viking fans, all 5 of you, the Lost Vikings are on sale. The Pajama Party Lost Viking skin is on sale as well. And for the 10 billion of you playing Malfurion right now, you know who you are. He's amazing. Now you can get a cool skin for him because the Storm Mantle Malfurion is on sale as well. There is a new bundle, too. If you remember back a while ago with the last in development video, they showed off this actually really cool-looking new Kael'thas skin, the Cyberhawk Kael'thas. That is actually out now as of today, Tuesday. So you can go and get the bundle or the skin for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Storm Mantle Malfurion skin, that's the one I use on Malfurion right now. And I get compliments on that thing all the time. Like, it's one of those skins.
Yeah, that's what I
like,
use too.
I think it's kind of under the radar, and a lot of people don't know about it because everyone uses
got
the Betrayer.
Nax staff. Remember the what's it called? The one with the horse or the antlers. See, somebody will tell me what it is eventually. But I had that staff on my druid. In Lich King when we were raiding Nax. And I just remember that being such a sweet looking staff, and I love that he's got that.
Yeah, but it's not used very often, and I love it and get a lot of compliments on it. So definitely pick it up this week, or don't, because I like it just being kind of not many people using it. So don't do it. We do have the free heroes this week. Speak of the devil, we got Malfurion, Vala, Sylvanas, Artanis, the Butcher, Lunara, Falstad at 5, Dahaka at 7, Medivh at 12, and Zarya at 15. Had to think about it, but I got it.
Believe.
Yeah, I did have to pause there. Yeah. Some quick announcements. Last time this announcement will be made, but it will be made one more time. Con Before the Storm coming up this Thursday, November 3rd, in Anaheim at pre-BlizzCon. TBK is going to be doing a Heroes panel at 6:30 Pacific. Multi is going to be doing Overwatch at 8:30 Pacific. Those will be streamed somewhere on the internet, I believe.
Yes,
is it
Alpha Geek Radio is going to have the audio for all of those. And then I believe we will also be releasing that on our podcast feed shortly afterwards, as soon as we get access to that. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so if you want to check it out live, go to alphageek.com. They'll have that stuff up there. And they'll probably have a link to it if you go to the Con Before the Storm website as well. And then it will also be released on our feed, like TBK said. Then after that, you can join us all in the tap room there from 8 to 8:45 p.m., where we will be giving away posters, wristbands, and just kind of come hang out. We would love to meet you guys if you are going to be at BlizzCon. And I would definitely suggest, if you are in the Anaheim area, come and check it out. Calm Before the Storm. It's a really, really cool event there.
And the posters are awesome.
The posters are awesome.
The posters are amazing.
The coverage plans that we are going to be having for BlizzCon this year. This is our goal here. We'll see. There may be some changes. There might not. Maybe we'll be able to hit this on the head. But BlizzCon is a super crazy place, and things may happen. But this is what we're going for. Friday night after the opening ceremony, all the announcements and stuff happening, we're going to be doing kind of a mini-sode just to recap everything, our thoughts on it. It won't be live, but we'll record our thoughts, and then we'll hopefully get that released on Friday for you guys to check out.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be gathering some interviews with, some just community members, Heroes players, hopefully some professional players, maybe some people from the development team. I know TBK has an art interview, and we're going to kind of mash all those up. I'll get it cut up into a nice episode, which will be that following Wednesday for you guys to check out. And speaking of that art developer interview, if you guys have any more questions and stuff, feel free to tweet at us, tweet at TBK, get in our Discord. Let us know what you guys would like, answered art-wise. And
what do you want to know about Heroes of the Storm art?
Yeah, and of course
anything.
And I'm sure we'll have some other questions come up once we hear some announcements. So while we're at BlizzCon, feel free just again tweet us, and we'll try and get some of that stuff knocked out here. But man, super stoked, and yeah, there's going to be hopefully a lot of great content coming for you guys Friday, and then the following Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday after that is kind of when we'll settle back down into our normal stuff. But it's going to be, hold on to your butts. It's going to be a wild ride this next week or so.
Well, as normal as things get around here.
Yeah, that's very true. As the tear slowly rolls down Multi's face. Slowly.
We shouldn't laugh at him.
One single tear was shed.
Shouldn't laugh at him.
Hammer Time, the new brawl this week.
Hammer Time
is out.
Hammer Time.
We were discussing this the night it was released because we all played it, and in our chat we were just like, so we did that. It was not as fun as the last brawl. And at that time I said, I'll probably be lucky with BlizzCon and stuff going on if I even finish the other three and get the quest complete for that. But you know what? I did tonight. Won all three of them, by the way. And I will say that my second two games, I think the more I played it, the kind of more I got into it. It's still not nearly as fun as last week's brawl. It doesn't have as much replayability. But I think it's almost kind of and I'll use the term lightly, but a needed brawl. With how powerful Hammer is right now, I think a lot of people are trying to play her. This is really good for people in lower leagues especially to learn how to play Hammer, because something I've noticed in some of the brawls and then that I played this week, especially my first game, there were a lot of people sieging up. And there's really, in that mode, very little should you be sieged, because it does, of course, it does the splash damage and extra damage to minions and structures, but to hero players, being in siege mode doesn't really do anything except add that extra range. So, and this is something I used to be really bad at on Hammer, was sieging up for no reason, just because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. So I've been seeing a lot of cool gameplay of people learning when and when not to siege. The use of the concussive blast has been really cool. People chaining those together to push people back, keep them on your side. And yeah, I've been enjoying it more and more, and I think it will help some people who maybe haven't played Hammer so much kind of learn some different ways to play her and how to correctly play her around team fights and stuff. Hopefully, that's my hope. I don't know. TBK, what are your thoughts?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I was not a big fan of it at all. And a lot of what you said was good in theory. The permanent thrusters kind of put a little bit of a kibosh on that, because the Z ability, and I don't know if everyone caught on to this, but I caught on to this, or I kind of figured it out in my second game. You can go straight to hit your Z thrusters from being sieged up, get out of siege mode way faster.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can actually de-siege.
Cause I was doing that too, but does that put a cooldown on that ability to be able to use it again to get out of Z? Yeah.
It does not.
It does not?
Z has a 1 second cooldown.
Yeah. So
That was one thing. So once I kind of figured that out, sieging became a lot more viable because it was much easier to escape. And when you just un-E, it takes quite a bit longer to switch out back into tank form. Also, it was a full game length, and that to me wasn't near as fun. I feel like in concept if you came to me and you pitched, okay, we're gonna do a new brawl and we're gonna have all hammer and it's gonna be on Towers of Doom and there's gonna be crazy pushing back and forth. The towers are gonna be going down. You're still gonna be, you won't be able to like just go in and finish a lane off real fast and then siege the core. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good in concept. In actuality, it played out. It's a regular game length. Like nothing has changed other than everyone's hammers and thrusters are always on, and so it got really, really annoying, especially toward later levels when the death timers were longer, because it was incredibly easy for the enemy team, if they wiped out a few people, to very quickly siege down the rest of your towers and start the shots ticking. So that was a little annoying. I feel like they have the bones of a decent brawl, but when I think brawl, and at least all the stuff at least that they've shown so far with the arena stuff, with the Punisher brawl the first time, this is like bite-sized heroes. And that may not be completely their goal, because they may do sometimes these full maps in times. But that's going to make people a lot less willing to play because they have to invest a full match worth of time into the mode, and they're not getting the hero XP either, which is, I honestly don't care for the short ones. It's whatever. Like the jump in, jump out type, like the Punisher brawl, I didn't care. I wasn't getting hero XP for that. When you're putting in a full game of time, you kind of want to get the actual hero XP out of it. So that's, in my mind, that's kind of like one of the things I wanted to do. But at the same time, I feel like they could have turned that brawl into a bite-sized brawl and made it a ton more fun, like with lower cooldown, lower spawn time cooldown, lower cooldowns on ultimates, faster XP gain, so you actually got to level 20 much faster, and then the games would end quicker. But if you had faster XP and shorter spawn times, you could have all sorts of craziness going on, and it wouldn't be quite as big of a deal. Because like right now, if you die, like I said, if you die at the end or towards the end, it's Towers of Doom. They can't just rush in and finish it, but they can just grab all three of your towers and you just die the slow, painful death, and there's nothing you can do about it. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I feel on it. It was very lacking, and it was an unfortunate, I think, that it came out after the Punisher brawl, because the Punisher brawl was so much fun, and then this comes along and it's just like, oh well, I can't get excited about this one.
I think their downfall on it was the map choice on this, because with Hammer being such a sieging hero specialist, the fact that you can only do that to a certain extent on this map kind of put a downer on it. But as far as the game length, I mean, a third of these brawls are probably going to be close to game length, because I think people are kind of stuck on the idea of what previous arena was supposed to be, where it was supposed to be kind of like the previous brawls.
Blizzard
going
hasn't
to be
set
arena.
the expectation very well.
I think for me personally they did, because I read it and I saw, some of the types of these maps are just going to be modified maps where it's going to be crazy rules on these maps that we already have. But
yes,
the
but
problem
at the
was
same time, like, this wasn't crazy rules to me. This is just hammers with thrusters.
Yeah,
like
that's an opinion thing. I
don't
hammers
feel
around.
like that's super crazy.
But just lost my train of thoughts. But yeah, like I said, I think the map choice was a downgrade on this. Will it encourage people to not play it? Possibly, But I think, you have to keep in mind here, you're still not getting nothing for playing these games, even if if they are closer to full length. You're still getting that 1,000 gold in portrait if you do 3.
Gold.
So, you have to keep that in mind. And I think this is kind of a big hit again, just because people's expectations were set on those short games, and now it wasn't that. I think as these go on, people will have those expectations just depending on what type of brawl it is that week. So
yeah. And I'm hoping Blizzard takes this, because I mean this has been a big topic of discussion on like the Hero subreddit as well. Like we're not the only people with these thoughts. This is shared by quite a bit of people. It was the top topic the day after it came out, of how it just wasn't, most people just didn't find it that fun. So I'm hoping Blizzard will take this feedback and integrate it, because these things will probably come around again at some point. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what they said, is they expect these to be rotating things. So just like the Punisher one, where people's feedback was, make the fountain invincible, or make the fountain respawn, or something like that, to keep the focus more on the team fighting and the Punishers rather than trying to just sneak in the fountain and whatever. Hopefully they'll take a look at this and say, okay, cool. We had a decent idea. Maybe the map needs to change. Maybe the mechanics need to change. Maybe it needs to go faster. And it'll be interesting to see as the brawls roll down the road what the time limit per brawl ends up being on average.
Yeah, I think you'd have to separate it from average per each type of game mode, wanting those to generally be somewhat consistent there. But yeah, I think, the big thing for me was just map choice. So we'll see what happens next time that brawl comes around. But I myself, and I see Zaku in here, has my same thoughts. Did my 3, done for this week. That's fine. It's not a bad thing. Spend more time in Hero League and stuff. So yeah, I got my gold, got my portrait. I'm happy with it,
but it's definitely not like the last week where I played, oh my gosh, probably 15 at least games of the Punisher Brawl, even though I wasn't getting hardly anything for them, just because they were fun.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, CBK. So we've had a lot of stuff coming up this last week in preparation for the Final 8 at BlizzCon that will be competing live. So why don't you get us up to date on what's going on there? Yeah,
so I don't know how much of this were you able to catch?
I was not able to catch any of Group B. I caught most of Group A, but yeah, not Group B.
Yeah, Group B had some pretty insane games too. The big day though was Wednesday, and that was the day when we actually saw our top teams fighting, our teams who had gotten the bye, from the group stages, fighting. So we actually had Astral Authority versus Please Buff Arthas, and that was disappointing, to be brutally honest. Astral Authority actually lost 2-1 to Please Buff Arthas. This team, this Taiwan team, they kind of, I don't want to say they kind of came out of nowhere, because they have shown they've been in like high in international tournaments in the past, like spring summer type thing, even under a different name. But it was disappointing to see NA's best lose to them 2-1.
Yeah.
When they were heavily favored to win. Then we had Dignitas versus MVP Black, and I think this was probably my most anticipated matchup, at least of Wednesday. Holy crap. MVP Black just looks so good. Just so freaking good. But I was actually really impressed with Dignitas. They came out swinging. They were actually one ultimate away from winning the first map. They played a Leoric on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and MVP Black had a Tyrael. There were 3 heroes of MVP Black's bunched up. There was a perfect Entomb onto 3 of them. and unfortunately, and this was late in the game. Like this team fight would decide the game, and unfortunately, one of the 3 caught in the entomb was Tyrael.
Yeah.
Sanct went down, and everything just kind of fell apart from there. Second game didn't look quite as good as the first game, but I was pretty impressed with Dignitas. They actually went and boot camped in Korea, and MVP Black was talking some serious smack.
Yeah, they were.
About them. Holy crap. Like, I was really wanting Dignitas to pull it out because of the ridiculous smack that MVP Black was talking. Like, 6 to 10 minute games and not a challenge at all.
Might
and
as well
Dignitas,
pack up and go home.
Yeah, and then Dignitas comes out, and they almost beat them in the first game. And the second game was definitely over 10 minutes. So I have some faith. There is some really good showing from Dignitas there. And then finally, MVP Black, which was a little sad, kind of just rolled over. Please buff Arthas. So that was a little rough. But that will end with Astral Authority versus Dignitas on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a little scared for our NA brethren. Because Dignitas looked pretty good. It's going to
be a tough matchup there, but
I have faith.
Yeah.
I have faith, but it's not a lot of faith. It's just a tiny bit of faith. But that the winner of that then will go on to play Please Buff Arthas, since Please Buff Arthas beat Astral in the first round. On the other side of the bracket, we had Zero G, which is the
Zero Panda.
Yeah, Zero Panda, which is the other Chinese team, and they played Fnatic. And in true Fnatic fashion, Fnatic actually 2-0'd them as well, and they 2-0'd the other Chinese team in the group stages. Mm-hmm. And were one of the ones to knock them out. So I've been super impressed with Fnatic, to be completely honest with you. Like, both the European teams have really impressed me a lot. What has not impressed me is our NA teams, and Denial even less so than Astral. As well, and maybe it's a little less me not being impressed by Denial and being more impressed with Ballistics, which is the other Korean team which beat MVP Black to get here. Like, they steamrolled Denial. It was like a GM versus Bronze League game. Like, that's what it felt like. It would, like, the play coming out of the Korean teams is just absolutely insane. So they went on to face Fnatic. Again, Fnatic had some actually incredibly close games and some incredibly good play even against Ballistics. But you could kind of tell, and I think, and this is something that that Dignitas needs to work on as well. There's a lot of respect between these teams for obvious reasons, because Korea is amazing right now. But there was so much hesitance in those games, I think, because they were scared they would misplay, that kind of almost works against them in a lot of ways. And so you saw that in these games, which was interesting. And I really hope that they kind of got that out of their systems. And then on these Friday and Saturday games, we'll see some really cool stuff coming out of them. And so that second round will end up with Zero Panda, Chinese team, versus Denial. And then the winner of that will face Fnatic. And Ballistics is through to the next round. Yeah. So both the Korean teams taking the number one spots in their respective groups.
Yeah, I am. So my thoughts of where we're sitting right now is I'm really hoping Denial takes it from Zero Pandas. So, and that way we have North America versus Europe on both sides. And those matchups, I'm really interested to see how those two would go if Denial can take it from Zero Pandas, because typically in the past, North America has been better than Europe. But right now, my thoughts are Europe has taken a step ahead. And I was wondering this, because, and I don't want this to sound like I'm taking anything away from Astral Authority because they've been playing great and amazing. But whenever they came up, people were questioning whether North America and Astral Authority had taken a step ahead or if they'd taken a step back. And
well, the thing about it is they're really good. They're the best in NA.
It's just we don't they're
and that's the big question mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the best in NA, but we don't have a lot of things or a lot of chances to compare that to the rest of the world right now.
Correct. And so now it's, the best in NA was better than the best in Europe. And now we're going to find out if the best in NA is still better than the best in Europe or if it's kind of taken the old switcheroo there. But overall, I was impressed by, the Please Buff Arthas. They kind of have a cool storyline going there. So I'm as cool as it would be to see them make it out of the round 2 here. I would rather Astral make it, and then even Dignitas over Please Buff Arthas. And I'm kind of sad. I don't know how they are setting up. I haven't seen the brackets as a whole set up now. We could potentially see a Ballistics MVP Black matchup in the finals.
We totally could,
and
we totally could because both. And it actually is weird how it worked out this way because of how the seeding ended up going and how the group stage matches ended up going. But now we have there's only one Chinese team left because one of them got knocked out. But we've got a Korean team on each side, and we've got a EU team on each side, and we've got an NA team on each side.
Yeah.
So potentially you could have NA v NA, EU v EU, or Korea versus Korea. Or China versus Taiwan.
Part of me likes that because, absolutely, no matter what, you should have the best 2 teams facing off in the finals. But another part of me really wants it to be between 2 different regions for that finals.
Yeah, I understand. But at the same time, I completely agree with if Korea is the best region, I want to see a Korea versus Korea game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many people play League of Legends because I used to play quite a bit, and they just had their worlds.
Yeah.
And they had Korean versus Korean team, I believe, at Worlds. SK Telecom and I don't know. I watched the end game. It went to 5 games. It was absolutely insane. But that level of play, that's what I want to see in Heroes. I want to see the absolute best in our final game. And if it ends up being the 2 Korean teams, then so be it. We should get some incredible games if that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. And I would still be super stoked to be able to watch those live at BlizzCon. It would be awesome. But
the hype.
It's
the hype gizmo. Off the charts.
But yeah, so that's where we stand now. We are down to the 8 teams here, and it begins Friday.
Yep. But all those teams we talked about will actually be playing on the BlizzCon stage.
Yes. So
you'll actually, for whoever's going, you'll be able to be there live in person, cheering NA on. And I hate to be a doomsayer, but we might need it, guys. We might need it.
Yes. Man, I'm so excited. It's almost here. I just wanted to be here already.
I know. I want it to be Thursday morning. I want to be flying out.
All right.
Soon.
So there was also a Reddit Q&A that happened over the esports version or side of Heroes. And TBK, doing as he always does, an excellent job of digging in deep there and really coming away with kind of the big points here. So we're just going to touch on these again, just in case you guys weren't able to catch that.
A few interesting things.
Yeah, some really interesting things here. So first up, really interesting thing here, crowdfunding is on the radar. They like the winner's mount that they've been doing, and they're looking to expand it more next year. And that's awesome. And I'm really hoping this goes towards, adding to a prize pool for those players. instead of just going back to Blizzard in towards the game. While that's awesome too, like these specific things that if we want to buy them, I want to buy them to be able to support the professional players.
Yes.
So
no, and there's a ton of precedents for this, right?
Yeah.
You've got the Dota International, which most of the prize pool is crowdfunded. The World's League of Legends was apparently crowdfunded. Smite does a big crowdfunding thing for some of their tournaments. So, I mean, all the precedence is there. They just need to come up with a really good way to benefit the people, giving the people something for contributing, and then working out a good split between some of the money going to Blizzard and then some of the money going to the prize pool, or like they're doing with the mounts, to the team specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Also here, they're looking to improve availability of match data for players and stat gatherers. Just excellent there. Agreed. For those worried about the Korean-China awesome offline events, they will still happen. The North America and Europe, however, will mostly be online leagues, and they will have more details for that coming soon. So we'll find out on that. And then for 2017, there will only be one period in the middle of the year where roster swaps will be permitted to address volatility issues. This is awesome.
I love this.
This is fantastic. One, it's protection for the players and their salary. Not that there's going to be salary involved in there, but there's still that period if there's really bad blood going on between people in the team, or if they want to make one roster swap there. I'm interested, is this going to have to be you're only able to swap if there is a volatility issue, or can you swap somebody? Will they be able to swap somebody because of poor play?
So, from what I understand, the mid-season one, you'll be able to roster swap someone for any reason, whether it's their play is not up to par, we need to get rid of them. They're not syncing with the team well, we need to get rid of them. Pretty much any reason, it's open. The only other way I think any swaps can happen is if for some reason a player just, says, I retire, I'm done, in the middle of, playing or something like that. And then I would assume that player would be prohibited from joining any other team that is within the top 8 or whatever for a period of time until the season ends.
Okay.
Is what I would guess, which would make sense, right?
Yeah.
That's a way to keep from saying, I'm retiring. Oh, I'm unretired. Because no one ever does that, right, Gizmo? Yeah, no one ever does that.
Hey, I want to give props to Rafflecopter, who retired and has stayed retired and has continually tweeted about all these changes and stuff are awesome and super stoked, but he is still staying retired. So good for David there.
Watch him unretire now and join one of the teams to try to get top 8.
Yeah, well, not this year at least, because he's already because of the changes of this for people that are wanting to play in the Heroes of the Dorm now. They had to sign something, and they are not allowed to.
Yeah, that's right.
Pro
team players cannot play Heroes of the Dorm.
So
or if you're in that top 8,
yeah,
you can't.
So
which is good. And then also roster swaps will be allowed between seasons. But that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So this next one is kind of a direct quote, and this is referencing because someone asked about the Open League, which is kind of the amateur scene that will allow you to play through and break into the actual top 8 pro division. Open Division will operate as a cup system with teams earning points based on their performance in each cup, ultimately leading up to a playoff bracket that will decide which 2 teams from the Open Division will enter the Crucible. Open Division tournaments will have monetary compensation as well. So this is really cool because this allows teams that are just forming or that are from smaller orgs or whatever that aren't in the top 8 to actually get some good competition on a regular basis and get monetary compensation as well. So I really like the whole idea of the Open Division.
Yeah, super excited for that. Again, just need to get this into the game somehow.
Yes. Yes, and I mean we hit on that so
Yeah,
hard.
that's why
so
I
many
just left
times.
it at
It's
that.
just yeah, it's just one of those things. It's so needed. They need to. That's what we're really hoping from BlizzCon. And I mean, Gizmo, I think you can agree that one of the big announcements we're really hoping for is some sort of tournament integration
Mm-hmm.
or team league or whatever into this system.
Yeah.
So, Latin America, Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia and Taiwan will operate as they did in the last year. Each region will have its own programs separately. They'll provide teams to the clashes, the mid-season brawl, and the finals. So, I just assume that Blizzard doesn't think these regions are quite big enough yet to integrate in. They also talked about how regionally it's very hard to integrate them into the open because they may not be big enough necessarily for an open themselves or that type of system, but it'd be hard to let them play in the EU or the NA or the China or the Korea Open just because of server issues or lag or it wouldn't be as fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to have their own programs. They're going to have their own money in tournaments and stuff. My only hope, and I don't think this was addressed as much as I would have liked it to be, is I would like to see more coverage of those tournaments. Because even coming in to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday matches, even the casters were saying, we don't know much about these guys. And in my mind, I'm just like, why not? Like they're playing heroes for tournaments and stuff. How do we not know much about these guys? And so I'm hoping that we'll get a lot better coverage and a lot better stat gathering for these smaller regions this time around. As mentioned before, there will be a limited battleground pool for HGC, but sadly, it will only be in effect for HGC.
For now. They are still
so
working on that
I believe Blackhearts and Garden of Terror are the two maps that are being thrown out, at least for the first half of the 2017 season.
Okay. Yeah, and I would hope that this would be a half type thing, where it would change up.
Yeah,
after,
and I think they
that
mentioned
big
that
tournament in the middle of the season. So
yeah, no, I completely agree. That'll change things up, and by then we'll have more maps.
Exactly.
Too. They also said they would consider doing other international clashes in the future seasons, not this season. We've got 2 clashes. The Western teams, the NA versus EU, and then the China versus Korea ones. But they did say they would consider doing ones for future seasons, such as like EU versus Korea, or NA versus China, or NA versus Korea, that type of thing, which I would be all for this. Like the more times these teams can meet internationally, the better. In my mind, just for the health of the game and the level of competition.
Absolutely. But with the difficulties between visas and stuff right now, that's the
big one.
That's the big problem. So it's just so much easier for you to play NA right now. But down the line, hopefully something gets resolved there to where it's easier for us to get that international competition. There are going to be rule changes coming up concerning first pick, first ban, and map bans. Hopefully, we'll hear more of that at BlizzCon. That's what we're hoping for.
That was a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, little
this
bit.
Season. Yeah.
Each team will play either once or twice a weekend in HGC. A typical weekend is going to be 2 best-of-5 matches a day, Friday through Sunday. So that's going to be...
love that.
Yeah, that's going to be... math is hard here. 6 games each weekend. Not 6 games, 6 matches. Yes.
6 sets of games.
Which
I love that though.
It's awesome.
That's great because that's like a Monday Night Football type schedule, and I don't necessarily have to watch them all.
Correct.
I probably will when I can, but I don't have to. Now I can look at the schedule, see which teams I want to see, sit down, watch a series of games, and done. not taking up my entire Friday, Saturday, or Sunday like the tournaments do now.
Yeah, and I really do like that they are switching to the best of 5 for these games, because that the teams I do want to follow and watch, it's nice to, sometimes a best of 3 can just end too quick. It's like, oh, that was done. Now with the best of 5, I get to enjoy more of the team I want to watch.
I feel the competition is better.
Yeah.
That way too. I feel a best of 5 is a better showcase than a best of 3 is.
Yeah, it avoids that, pulling out some cheeky strategy and stuff, getting you that second win that you need.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. It's really cool seeing those strategies, but now you can still do that for one of your wins, but you have to have also 2 other really good games where you're just going to
you've got to have the skill to back up the rest of it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Complete HGC schedule will be going out in January to help other tournament organizers play around it, which is nice to have those, because that's another thing people had concerns about, is that there was nothing outside of Blizzard really supporting this competitive community. So we'll be able to get those other tournaments and stuff on the outside for teams to play in. And the official off season is going to be November after BlizzCon till late January.
That's good.
That's almost 3 months.
It's
2.5.
It won't be quite like that this year, I don't think, because the top 8 spots haven't been determined yet. And I honestly, and this is one of the questions I had, and I don't know if we'll find out the answer yet. For the season after this, do the top 8 teams get to stay, or do you have to fight again for those 6 spots that are open right now?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Like that's kind of what I wonder, because or do they just are they just going to have a crucible at the beginning of the season or something like that where just 2 teams can get knocked out? That's kind of the big question I had after reading the off-season comment.
Yeah. And I mean, this makes sense. The reason I'm kind of bummed on 3 months, that's a long time for me without competitive heroes. But I mean, that's still longer than any other professional sport out there as far as the season.
There might be community tournaments.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would not be surprised if that is a huge spot the community tournaments will jump on for like mid-November, early December type area. And I mean, there's a lot of holidays in there too, right? The whole back half of December is basically holidays.
Yeah.
The end of November is holidays. We could see something cool again like the Esports Arena did with Heroes Rising, and that was in January.
Exactly. Or another Bloodlust.
Yeah.
No pressure, Jake.
But we need one.
Yeah, we need one. So that's good. I'm stoked for it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Let's see. So the last few, they're working on something big to help everyone keep track of everything easily. My personal opinion, they're probably doing a massive website overhaul.
Please.
It's so hard to find stuff on there right now.
Yeah, when I missed some of the games this last week and stuff because I was at work when the games are going on, it was literally hard to find. Not hard. It was much harder than it should have been to find an updated bracket. Like in the first place I started was on this website, and I could not find one. I spent probably 10 minutes digging through there. So finally, I just went to Google, typed in.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to
bracket
Google
and click a couple links, and I found
Google
one.
these things.
Like way ridiculous.
If you have to Google it, your website design is not good. Like that's honest.
Take notes, Reddit.
Honesty, yeah. Like
take notes, Reddit.
Yeah, I even have the like Reddit enhancement suite to make Reddit more bearable. But yeah, so I assume it's going to be a website, maybe an app. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be awesome as well.
I'd be totally down for an app or even a companion app to a website. But hopefully there'll be a nice, easy way. You go to like heroesofthestorm.com/esports or even Heroes Esports or something like that, and boom, team list, bracket list, schedules, streams, place to download replays. Like all that would be perfect, guys. Can't wait. So for the teams who are wanting to go pro, the announcement for the Open Division details will be coming later this year. So it might be at BlizzCon, might be later than that. It's starting, I think a few weeks after BlizzCon, so wouldn't surprise me if the announcement was there, but we'll have to see. And this was the other big one. They did say a solution will be in place for patch timings and tournament schedules. There are no details on that yet, but this makes complete and total sense. If you're going to have the full schedule for 2017 laid out completely, that you can just hand to the development team can in some ways plan around this so that they don't drop, at the very least, major patches before a tournament shortly before a tournament.
My take on this, because I don't think they will want to hinder the game as a whole as far as timing and stuff. From this I see tournament server incoming, tournament servers that can stay, because I believe League uses those that can stay.
Yeah, you would have to do something. Because you'd have to do special servers and you'd have to have special clients, or a special client version at the very least, that all the pro teams had access to.
Yeah.
And that seems to me like not a huge deal, especially with this new system. You know exactly who your top 8 teams are. You know exactly who the players are. Making like scrim tournament servers seems like a fairly easy way to go about things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's totally possible. Or it's possible that they just won't release big patches and they're just going to sync up with the esports department. I agree with you in some ways. I don't like to see the game as a whole be held up or hindered just because of esports. I can totally sympathize with the pro players that don't want huge changes to happen right before patches.
Mm-hmm.
Like that makes a lot of sense. That would and as a person watching, I don't necessarily want that to happen either, because I want to see these people at the top of their game. And if a huge patch comes out right before a tournament, they can't be at the top of their game.
Yeah.
So
we will see more on that here. TBK, what do you have for community content this week?
This is actually a really cool video that JHow did with one of the pro players, Talking Trees. And it is a Gul'dan guide. And I decided to highlight it because Gul'dan has been seeing a lot more play than I think anybody expected out of him. We had several Gul'dan games, and he was doing some work in several of them too, especially the Korean games, because they know how to do things. It was insane. So yeah, he's in a pretty decent spot right now. He got some nice buffs not too long ago. So if you want to learn how to play some Gul'dan and you want to get some pro tips, we'll have the link in the show notes or in the Twitch chat I just linked.
Absolutely. Well, we do have a few listener questions this week. If anyone in the chat room has a question for us, feel free to type it out and we'll get to it there if we got some time. First up, we have one coming from Coldam, and he just wants predictions on who will win the BlizzCon trophy. So at this point, the safe bet is that we're going to see MVP Black and Ballistics in the finals. As far as who's going to win that could be interesting because Ballistics has beaten MVP Black. I have not seen these teams play enough yet to give a super educated guess on them, but just based off of what I know, I am going to say MVP Black is going to take this tournament. And a question I have, TBK, a little bit off topic here, or somewhat on topic. MVP Black a while back had mentioned that they were most likely going to be pulling out of a Heroes team. Do you know if that opinion has changed since
It seems so, because they have 2 teams in Heroes now.
Okay. So that's good. Going into
MVP
the new
Black
HGC
and MVP
tournament.
Miracle, which I believe almost made it.
Okay.
Along with Tempest, which is now Tempo Storm.
All right. Yeah, and I thought
A lot of good Korean teams right now.
Yeah. I thought that would probably change their mind because it's a great step in the right direction, but so we'll see. But who are your predictions for to BlizzCon champions?
I'm actually going to go with Ballistics. I really was impressed with their play quite a bit so far. Like I said, and this is another one of those things. Most of the Korean games take place while I'm sleeping or while it's very, very late. And so I don't get to watch a lot of those because unfortunately my schedule just doesn't allow for me to go back and watch a lot of VODs. I like to when I can, but I've been very impressed by the play I've seen from them. They're just so well coordinated. They're just so on top of their game. Mechanically, they're insane. I would be very surprised I would be somewhat surprised if it was not a Korean versus Korean finals. I'd be extremely surprised if we did not see a Korean team win it all.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the common consensus here now, which is interesting because last year that was the consensus that MVP Black was going to take it. And my prediction, Cloud9 took it home. And I know there was discussion in the chat room earlier. I think a big part of that was the fact of kind of home field advantage. Cloud9 was known as a team that always played great at live events with the crowd, and I think that probably really helped them out a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if that helps out these NA teams here moving their way up in the brackets here. So really hopeful for that. And TBK, why don't you take the second question here?
Okay, so the second question is predictions on who will get the remaining spots to compete in next year's league format in NA. Well, I feel like some of the teams don't even exist yet, to be completely honest. Do we have 8 top NA teams that we could name right now? Like seriously? Like, we've got Naventic and Gale Force. I can almost assure that they will be taking 2 of those spots.
Yeah, so Naventic, Gale Force, Astral, Denial.
Mm-hmm. Like, what do you name? Yeah, what do you name from there? Like, there's some teams that have formed and reformed. The Barrel Boys reformed. Maybe they'll get a spot. Shots team disbanded.
It'll be interesting on how they handle that situation.
Like, we may see some orgless teams in the top 8, at least temporarily orgless. Mm-hmm. Like, I assume once we get our top 8, we will see either smaller orgs or maybe even some bigger orgs jump in and snap up some of the teams, especially now since it's a realized compensation salaried type thing that makes it a lot more interesting, or a lot more what's the word, enticing for orgs to pick up, because maybe they don't need to shell out as much money to the players specifically. They just support them in other ways, whereas the players will be getting their own salary. So that's a pretty big deal too. But like you said, honestly, like, who do we have that's not Naventic, Gale Force, Denial, and Astral?
Well, and there's
right now, because we had Murlocs,
yeah,
but then Astral dropped their roster and snatched them up. So I think they went back. The old Astral roster picked up Equinox again, and they're Gust or Bust again, I think.
Yeah, so we do have the Gust or Bust, Dumpster Tier Superstars with Faye, and Team Blaze with Oddish. Superstars. So those are...
But Team Blaze hasn't been active at all.
Yeah.
The back half of this, in the pro scene at least, the back half of the season, or at least they have not made it into any of the tournament formats. So I feel like they're going to try and make a run for sure.
Yeah, and
there's no question.
You brought up a good point here I want to touch on real quick. The fact that with this new format, because North America especially has always had some of the top teams were orgless. For instance, Murloc Geniuses for a long time. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly or how many more organizations will jump in with this new format next season, which I'm really excited about. because it was kind of
Yeah.
it was kind of a
Oh,
bummer having, your game of choice and following the competitive scene and having these teams that weren't supported. So hopefully we'll see that support change fairly rapidly here.
Oh, and yeah, that's I do want to make that correction. Someone pointed out Gale Force or Equinox is playing for Gale Force now
Okay.
because I think he replaced. Shit, I don't know. I see. There's so much of this stuff. Like I honestly can't keep track of it right now, and it's going to become much easier to keep track of when these rosters don't change for 6 months at a time.
Yep.
Like so forgive me for not like getting all the things right, but like that's the state of NA
B-Kid.
right now. B-Kid, is that who you swapped out for?
Looks like yeah. So thank you.
B-Kid.
Chat room is the best. I'm so glad we
Oh,
do these
goodness.
shows live now.
I'm glad they can.
We
they
don't
can
have
back
to
me up
know-
on that.
we don't
I
have
can
to know
only, I can only
anything.
keep so much in my brain at the same time. But yeah, that's the state of NA right now. We've got our big four dominant teams. We've got, like you said, Dumpster Tier. We've got like the Guster Bus. We've got maybe the Reformed Barrel Boys, maybe Team Blaze. That's 8.
There we
That's
go.
8
There
for
we
you
go.
guys.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I got
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no. Mine was changing topic. What's your? Go ahead.
I have a slight correction, or else people are gonna hit us on this because MVP Black was not in last year's BlizzCon. It was Team DK. And they were not even
Are you
second
100%
place.
positive?
Yes, 2015 Heroes of the Storm World Championship. Cloud9 won. Dignitas got second place. Team DK and Navi, I should say, because that's way easier to say. Navi got third, fourth.
I knew Team DK was there. I could have sworn MVP Black was there, and they got knocked out.
No,
pretty early.
that's one of the reasons people thought that it was kind of a weird deal because they didn't make it, and because only one Korean team actually came last year.
Okay.
But I because when you said that, I was a little confused because I thought I had remembered something different. But yeah, Cloud9, Dignitas, Navi, Team DK, Braveheart, Tempo Storm, GIA, and Team YL.
Okay.
So it was only 8 last year.
Yeah, that's 8 this year.
No,
Well, it's 8 going
no,
into
it was 12 this year.
Well, but it's 8 going into Friday.
Yes, but this, I don't think they brought 2 Korean teams
Yeah.
last year.
All
So
right.
just kind of that's how long it's been. And let's look at this. How many of these teams even still exist? Tempest Storm, Korean now. Braveheart, gone. Team DK, gone. It's some of its members are dispersed. Navi dropped the Heroes team. GIA doesn't exist as far as I know. Team YL doesn't exist as far as I know. Dignitas is probably the most like intact of any of them, and Cloud9 doesn't exist anymore.
and
Like that's how much things have changed in 1 year.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
that says something for Dignitas because I think Dignitas has improved a lot, and it's because they have been somewhat stable. So
yeah. So I mean, but that's why it's hard to remember some of this stuff
yeah,
because we just don't have that stability yet.
but
And hopefully we're gaining it.
yeah, it's going to fix that HGC next year, and this new awesome website they're going to create that's going to keep track of all this stuff for us. It's going to be awesome.
Man, I'm so pre-excited right now.
I have a question here, which I'm not sure either of us will have the answer to, but so there is that moment in the middle of the season where the teams will have a opportunity to make a draft or a roster swap.
The Crucible.
No, the roster swap.
Oh, okay. Crucible is the knock.
What is there anything to lock in sponsors for that year? Can a
There
sponsorship
was
drop a
no-
team in the middle of the season?
There was no talk of that. I assume there will be rules and regulations for that. And I assume if the rules allowed a sponsor to drop a team, which I would guess there's probably a clause in there that either the beginning of the season or that midpoint in the season will probably be the opening for the org to do it.
Yeah, because it it makes sense both ways for me because you don't want team. They're wanting to build something for stability and recognition, so you don't want team names to be changing, even if it's the same team.
No.
However, at the same time, with this being a new thing and them wanting to grow it, could that be a deterrent for some smaller organizations wanting to get involved? So it wouldn't surprise me completely if there was something or some spots throughout the year where small orgs wanting to get in there, support a team, it's not working out, they get out. And then as the years go on, it gets more locked in to where this is your organization. You guys, you're in here for the whole year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume they probably it'll be the same as players, but they haven't said anything about it. But I assume it'll be the same if an org wants to drop players, which is fine because if the players are still in, they're still getting salaried.
Yeah.
So it's not like once the org drops, they just lose everything. At least they're still on the Blizzard payroll. They're still getting at least the Blizzard support side of things. And so hopefully that will entice orgs not to drop the teams if they're doing well. We might see orgs drop teams that fall out of the 8.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's something we didn't talk about too much, but the Crucible thing is going to be a big deal. Because one of the things they did confirm is that that $100,000 number they talked about, it is 50 and 50. So if you do get knocked out of the Pro 8 by one of the teams coming up from the Open, then you will only get that 50 for the first half, and then the team that knocked you out of the Pro Open will get the 50 from the second half.
That makes sense. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
A question we had in chat room here. See if I can find it because there's been chat going on. Okay, Draven Dresden. He said, "Who will be new heroes? Why is one of them Vol'jin? And when will we see Dreadlord Jaina skin?" So we have touched on this over, and I know we did for sure last episode on new heroes. The Vol'jin, in case people missed that, was one of my predictions, and I think we will see him, one, because there's not a troll in the game, and then two, with Samwise, again, in that interview talking about Samuro last week. Back in Warcraft, they were paired up. It was Samuro, Vol'jin, Chin, and somebody else, and all of them are now in the game except for Vol'jin. As far as the Dreadlord Jaina, so what's the deal with this skin? Because I know I'm expecting a Dreadlord Medivh, because of the Warcraft movie.
Do you know the Dreadlord Jaina joke?
No, I have no. This is complete, and I see this all the time, and it's like what's happening?
Yeah,
here? I know there's something, but
and I don't know the full context around it, but apparently, just because of like how sour her mood has been getting throughout the expansions, like maybe she's a Dreadlord.
Okay.
Or something,
Okay.
or maybe it's just a random thing. It's just like, what if Jaina was a Dreadlord?
Okay.
Maybe Jaina's gonna be the last boss.
It's fair enough, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I would love it. Sure,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I would buy it.
I would love the Dreadlord Medivh skin, and I don't think I've ever actually said that on the show because I didn't want to. As soon as I saw that in the movie, I was like, "That's a skin," and I think I never talked about it on the show because I didn't want to spoil it, and then I just forgot about it. So, okay, hold on. He said Jesse Cox visited Blizz HQ. He wrote on a storyboard thingy, "Jaina is a Dreadlord." And he went back 1 year later, and it's still there. Okay. Okay.
Well, there you go. That's not near as fun as Jaina just kind of getting grumpier and grumpier and then just deciding.
Well, that's why he said it. I'm sure it's something along those lines. And the fact they're like, makes sense. Let's keep it on the storyboard. Maybe a possible idea.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So to wrap up, one of the last questions that someone was asking me the other day was the state of tanking in the game right now, specifically referring to the HGC stuff, because honestly, I think the game, without taking Samuro into account, I think the game is probably as balanced or is in one of the most balanced places it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like and we've seen that come out in the drafts that people are pulling out from these pro HGC matches. So it's awesome. The one like dark spot in that is tanks right now, specifically main tanks. We basically have ETC and Muradin almost picked or banned in every single game. And then once one of those guys is gone, the only real solo tank backup you've got is Johanna. Mm-hmm. So right now we've got Johanna, Muradin, and ETC. Those are our 3 main tanks. And those are seen in, one of those is seen basically in every game on each side. And here, like some of the stats, out of the 34 total games played, ETC was involved in 32 and Muradin was involved in 31. Like that's crazy. Anubarak was never selected, Artanis was never selected, Diablo was never selected, Rexar was never selected, and Stitches was never selected. And so I'll completely agree. I feel like the state of main tanks is very poor right now. And I don't think it's we need to nerf ETC, Muradin, and Johanna. I think it's more we need to bring up to par some of these other characters, specifically Anubarak, who most assuredly has the kit to be a main tank.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have the numbers behind it. Same with Diablo. Diablo, with a few tweaks, has a very decent kit to be a main tank, in my opinion. But the numbers aren't there.
The issue with those 2 heroes is because they've done this before, where they've tweaked numbers to bring them up, and then they have to fight this balance because with the way their kits are, I think it's just because the way their kits are, bringing them up causes something like crazy to happen. Like Diablo, when they brought him back up, his siege damage was just absolutely nuts, like bonkers, out of control. So I don't know if it's they like having to do some reworks
they need
along
some rework
with that.
Yeah, Diablo especially.
Yeah,
because Diablo's got one of the older kits.
Mm-hmm.
Like a noob, I feel like a few small tweaks could bring him back into contention. Part of the problem the last time Anub was kind of in was his damage was too much.
Mm-hmm.
They way overdid his damage, and so he was being picked. He was a main tank being picked as an off tank because his damage was so high. So I feel like with a few tweaks, Anubarak could be in a decent spot. Diablo, that's another thing, right? I feel like he needs some talent work.
Yeah.
And he needs some numbers tweaks. But the last few times both Anubarak and Diablo were big, it was from big buffs. And they're patching more often, right? So yeah. I'd be okay with small tweaks a few times to try and get them in a decent spot because they've got that luxury now.
Yeah. My concern with Anubarak is with his trait and stuff, the AI is the game, the systems in the game. Is his AI good enough or dependable enough to be able to balance? Is something because his beetles were doing too much damage. The AI was awful on it. So can they make tweaks to that with it being reliable with how bad the AI is? Can the system support them actually fixing the AI of his beetles? Or
possibly. Or maybe the beetles become a build, just one build of several, and maybe the beetle build is not the competitive build.
Yeah, but that would be, I mean, his trait then would be kind of gone. Do you think they would ever go far enough in this, kind of standing to Diablo and Anubarak here, but with any hero, do you think they would ever go far enough for these like older heroes and stuff, if there's something just not fitting, to change a hero ability? Has that ever happened in other games? I didn't play other MOBAs.
So someone asked this on one of the recent QAs, and they said they would be very hesitant to do so, and if they did, it would be part of a much bigger design change.
Mm-hmm.
Because Arthas has had multiple abilities throughout. Back in the alpha, he got several abilities changed. But that was alpha, right?
Yeah.
And so you expect that kind of thing a lot more, because any core ability change in some ways makes them a different hero than what you've had before. And so the question is, do you do that, or do you make a brand new hero based on how you want something to work?
Yeah. And
so
that's perfect. That leads me into my other thing here, going back to heroes being announced at BlizzCon. It would not surprise me if we see 3 heroes announced. Maybe not, but some people are hearing we may hear, many up to 4 new heroes. 2 of those being warriors.
Yeah, and the rumor right now is that Varian Wern.
Ren? You call him
Ren. You talk to me about punctuation.
I have to. Whenever you say it, I have to point it out.
Varian Wren.
Watch me have been saying it wrong this whole time.
W-Y.
W-R-Y-N-N. Oh my gosh, have I been saying this wrong the whole time?
Varian Wren.
I think it's Varian Wren.
Did I just like cause you to?
I am questioning my entire life right now.
Oh.
So please, somebody in the chat room, save us here. Save my emotional stability.
While we're waiting for someone to maybe save Gizmo, but possibly not. The rumor is he will have a main tank kit.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, we've got a lot of great off tanks right now. Like, we honestly really do. We're in a double warrior meta, honestly, right now. We're seeing that a ton in multiple games. And there's a lot of great off tanks, but not a lot of great main tanks. So like I said, I would like to see Blizzard try and find a way to get Diablo and Anub back into that main tank-ish category to where they're at least viable again as main tanks. And then I would not mind seeing them add a few more.
Yeah.
Because that's probably of everything going on right now, that's probably the stalest thing we've got right now is our choice in main tank warrior picks.
Okay. So we need to wrap things up here. But it was pointed out in chat room as well, and this completely slipped my mind. They did give Sylvanas a new ability, her ult.
Yeah, they did.
So that's
so it is
possible.
The precedent is there.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. I got to get packing. I got to wake up early. TBK has things to get ready for. He still has to work tomorrow.
Did Daniel fix this for us?
Yes, Daniel did.
What is it, Greg?
Wait. No. Everyone else is saying Varian Wren, and then Ben, Varian, Kylo, Ren, Kenobi. It's Mana Worm, not a Mana Worm. I think he's trying to miss. It's Wren. It's Varian Wren. Varian Wren. You heard it here first. Just not Varian really. Anyways,
I'm sure we'll go through this whole thing again if he's actually announced as a character.
It's going to announce at BlizzCon, and TBK is going to look over, and I'm just going to be in tears on the floor, questioning my life because it's not Varian Wren.
In tears of joy or tears of sadness.
Anyways, you can reach us in game. Just type /join space LOTS, or join our Discord, which is in the notes, and on our Twitter. Find us on Twitter and Twitch at Lords of the Storm, Facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us feedback or questions at lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. We do love 5-star iTunes and Stitcher reviews, but we do love all reviews, just kind of giving us a heads up on what you guys enjoy about the show, what you don't, what changes you might like to see. We take all that stuff into consideration, so please do leave one of those. We also have a Patreon, which you can support us. We appreciate all of our patrons over at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm. You can find us individually. You can find me on Twitter at Gizmozord and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gizmozord. You can also find me on Convert to Raid Presents, another podcast. And check those out, especially this week. I'll be tweeting up a fiend, I'm sure, because of BlizzCon. And you can find Multi, who, again, is not here tonight, not able to make it, but he will be at BlizzCon. You can find him on Twitter at Multizord. And then his Overwatch show, Cavalry, at The Cavalry Show. TBK, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord, where I will probably be tweeting up a storm. Yes. Nothing, Greg. You're not giving me anything. Oh my gosh, this is a problem with two man. And also on Twitch.tv/TBKZord, where hopefully next week, this week BlizzCon stuff got in the way, but next week I will hopefully have at least a few Chair League playoffs for your eyes, because the Chair League playoffs are going on next week and the week after, and then the finals will be the week after that. So it's going to be awesome. Hope you guys can check this out. Yeah, I think we're almost at BlizzCon. We're almost at BlizzCon.
I don't know what's happening right now. It's
people could be listening to this as they're traveling to BlizzCon.
That is true.
That is the plan,
That's
guys.
true.
We're getting this out for you a day early, not just because we're going to be gone, because we are, but just for the other reason is just so you guys have something to listen to on your trip.
This is out early enough for me to listen to on my way to BlizzCon.
Yeah, you can
this is
listen to this.
You know what, people are already there for BlizzCon. They can listen to this as they're doing something tomorrow for BlizzCon. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
that's
they can't be doing anything else. Right.
That's
why.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna get out of here.
We're still talking, aren't we?
Special thanks to our
Oh my
patron
gosh.
producer Ouroborosode for helping support the show. But we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna should get in bed, but that's not gonna happen. Not gonna be able to sleep. Headed to BlizzCon. See you guys later.
See ya.
Woo!
Oh my. 2-man show shenanigans.
I was desperately looking like I wanted a cricket sounder real bad, but I didn't. All right, guys.
You need to up your soundboard game.
Yeah, I do.
Greg.
I really do. No post-game shows this week because I still got a lot of stuff I got to get ready.
Post game shows.
Post-show games. That
It's okay. You're going to BlizzCon in a few hours.
that I am. So we're gonna get out of here. Again, make sure and follow us on Twitter this week and send us any questions you have for that art dev interview. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for
just
sure.
keep us updated. Especially if you guys going to be there.
Yeah, we want to see you,
We'll see you.
especially on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
But we will try and be around.
Yes.
We'll have shirts on. I'll be wearing my Lords of the Storm shirt at least one day.
I only packed one shirt, and it's that shirt. Not really.
It just starts falling off of you just from wear.
You laugh now. Wait until you're stuck in that convention center. Smells linger.
That sounds. I'm prepared, Greg.
Yeah.
I've got my Ester C patented immune health formula, 24-hour immune support, and I'm bringing my tiny little thing of hand sanitizer.
Okay.
So easier to find if you don't wear a shirt.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I'm getting pre-healthed up because I know that
Concred?
con crud is a real thing.
It is.
It is a real thing.
It has. So last year it didn't get me because I was ground zero of Concred, I'm pretty sure. So I was. You're welcome.
You went into it being sick already.
I wanted to. I knew people would. The con blues, post-con blues are also a thing, and I just wanted to give people a little present to remember me by as they went home and for the next week afterwards. So.
Gizmo.
Yep. Not this year though. Hopefully.
I've got a ton of Blizzard stuff. I'm bringing my Chen shirt. I'm bringing my BlizzCon Hero shirt. I've got my Heroes hoodie that I probably will only wear to the airport. Although I might not.
It gets pretty
because
cold in the convention center.
The air conditioner just kicked on here again.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
It does get kind of chilly in that convention center, so definitely bring like a light jacket.
So maybe I'll have my Heroes hoodie, on. Julia is making me a Carbot Heroes inspired shirt. Yeah. And it's going to guys, holy crap. It looks incredible. And I'm going to be wearing it on Thursday night at Calm Before the Storm. It's going to be good stuff.
Perfect. Well, yeah, that's going to do it. I need more Blizzard shirts. Neither of my BlizzCon t-shirts I ordered are going to be here. So
what?
Yeah. I just ordered them like 2 days ago.
Oh, well.
And they were almost out.
That's your fault then.
But yeah, so we're going to hop out of here, and we'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
Oh, I just hung up on TVK. Wrong button. I don't know what to do right now. Go ahead.